In number 14, we've got a special right triangle. This happens to be a 30, 60, 90 degree triangle. And with that kind of triangle, there's two equations that we can use that'll help us solve for other sides. And these equations compare the side lengths. The first one says that the hypotenuse is the same as the shorter leg, except for it's doubled. We multiply it by 2. The second equation is that the long leg is the same as the short leg times the square root of 3. Okay, so we can use either one of those to solve for missing lengths, but it might depend, it might matter which one we do first. So for example, if we're looking at trying to solve for V, which is the short side, and U, which is the long side, I'm going to be unable to start with that equation because I'm missing both the long side and the short side. I don't know what those are, so I'd be setting up this equation with two variables and I wouldn't be able to solve for either one. Instead, I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to rewrite that over here so we've got a little bit more room. The hypotenuse is the same as the short side doubled, right, times 2. Oops, times 2. The reason I'm going to do that is because I already know one of those missing parts. The hypotenuse is 8 times the square root of 3 over 3. So when I plug that in here, 8 times the square root of 3 over 3, and I'm going to set that equal to the short side. The short side is V. I don't know that. That's what I'm solving for, but it's the only variable in the equation. So now I'm able to still continue with that and solve for the short side. Then I'm going to go back and use the other equation later. Okay, so let's continue with this. V times 2, I want to get down to just V by itself, so I'm going to divide by 2 to cancel out that multiplication. If I do that on one side, I do it on the other side, which is really putting a 2 down here, right? Okay, so those cancel. I'm left with just V, the short side, and my new equation, or my new term on the left-hand side is 8 times the square root of 3 over 6. Now I can divide this a little bit further to simplify. Okay, so I can take, I've got that 8 here and I've got that 6 here. I can take a 2 out of both of those. So really I should be calling this 4 times the square root of 3 over 3. Okay, and that is the value of this short side. And if you wanted to, you could plug that in your calculator and approximate it so you get a value that's a little neater. But as far as the most specific answer that's left in its simplest radical form, you've got it there, 4 times the square root of 3 over 3. Okay, so now that I've got that, now it's time to solve for this other longest side. And I'm going to use this equation here. Okay, so again, I'll rewrite that. The long side equals the short side times the square root of 3. And plug in what you know. We know that the long side is just a variable that we're calling U for right now. But now we know that it's equal to the short side, which is 4 times the square root of 3 over 3. And we're going to multiply that by the square root of 3. Okay, so when we do that, square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is 3, so that's 4 times 3 over 3. Those cancel, and we're left with just U equals 4. So this entire side length over here, the long leg, is 4.